Okay, what's going on, party people? As you can see, at least I'm giving y'all a good light, okay? But I'm extremely sick. Sorry, I got a cough drop in my mouth. But yeah, my sinuses started acting up probably Sunday night, and I woke up Monday morning with a sore throat, and it's just kind of spiraled from there. I'm boiling some more water to do my second breathing treatment. How, you gotta boil the water and then put the vaporize in. Vicks that rub in there. So I'm doing that. I'm doing my second round of it because I just got out the shower. So after this video, I'll go and make some hot tea in the meantime. But anyways, that's not the reason why I got on here to talk to y'all. The reason why I got on here to talk to y'all tonight is because a situation just happened where, and I'll go into detail. So basically, and I'm just about to get really personal with you all, but I feel like for the ones who have been following me for this long, can handle it. And if you're new, then welcome to the party. But anyways, so, okay, so I went up front, to do my first round of my breathing treatment with the boiled water. And my mom started a new job, working at Amazon. She started last night. And so earlier today, she asked me if she could take my car. And, I was hesitant at first because I just put gas in it yesterday. And for the ones who own a car, you know what that is like. When you just put gas in it, you don't want nobody else driving it but you. Okay? And it's not even to be mean. It's just gas prices are at summa cum laude level, and I can't keep putting $25 worth of $3.19 on a regular gas tank in my car. So anyways, so eventually I told her yes, sure, whatever. So, so she's sitting up front waiting on, because she did have to be at work till 10 o'clock. She just left probably 15 minutes ago. And so, my dad was looking for my keys, and so when he found them, he saw that my spare key was still on my key ring. He asked me, "Where's my spare key?" And I was like, "It's on my key ring," because the battery in my car key had died, and so we had a key guy come out one day last week to switch the battery in my car key and then also give me a spare key. And so I just forgot to take the spare key off of my key ring and just put it somewhere here in the house. And so when I was like, "It's on my key ring," and he was like, "Why would you keep it on your key ring?" He was like, "That's not gonna do any good if you're somewhere lost and you need a spare key." And I was like, "Okay, well, I obviously forgot. Just take it off my key ring." And he was like, "Well, I already did that. It's in the drawer already." And my mom kind of chimed in and was like, "Yeah, like, why would you, da 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 da." And so normally in my head and in my emotions, I would get upset and, but it just, I said out loud, and I was like, golly, like, y'all timing is just off, and, way to kick a person when they down type thing. Like, I'm sitting up here, can't hardly breathe, and you gonna sit up here and tell me that I should have took my spare key off of my key ring? Seriously? But in that moment, the Lord really dropped something in my spirit, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And when I tell y'all, it made perfect sense. So once, like, they finished, like, talking or whatever, and I went back to my breathing treatment, the Lord put on my heart, and he was like, see, now you see, you don't come from a family that shows a lot of grace. And in that moment, it made me realize that I don't. Like, at first, it used to only just be my mama that would be like that. But here lately, it's become my dad as well. And then my brother, he's always been like that. Because he's always been such a nonchalant and just laid back person. Like yesterday when we were coming back from Mississippi, he said something that I should have did. We were in a truck, and something that I should have did or whatever, and I guess I didn't do it. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. I was like, you want me to buy you a cookie? You know, so it's just that I've always grown up in environments where I am punished verbally or emotionally, because whether it was something as minute as a spare key or whether it was something bigger than that. And the way my family handles it is, instead of showing that grace, then we go in like to these dramatic, like, silent treatments. Like, for example, maybe about a couple months ago, well, not a couple, because it wasn't that recent. It was maybe, I know it was before I started my weight loss journey. So that was February that I started. So that was probably January of 2021. I remember I was getting in the car going to the gym, and my daddy made a comment about my weight, and he was like, you know, I hope you get that weight off of you, you know, because you don't want to marry Kamaje and da-da-da-da-da. He's talking about my boyfriend. And that really hurt me. It really made me feel some kind of way, because Kamaje has done nothing but love me from the very beginning that we've talked. When I was at my heaviest of 215, he loved me, and that has never changed. If I don't lose another pound, that never will change. And during that time, I wasn't still aware of, or still like knowing of how to speak up for myself and how to say in those moments of what hurt me and what didn't. And so I just didn't say nothing, but I called Kamaje and I vented like crazy. And when I got home, I iced him. I iced my daddy. Like, I didn't talk to him for like the rest of that week. Even going into next week, I didn't talk to him. And of course he knew something was wrong, but like, I wasn't telling him, because for me emotionally, I wanted to punish him for what he said to me. Instead of just being an adult and talking about it, I wanted, in that moment, I wanted to do him like he did me. You know, tit for tat. And so, you know, we eventually talked about it, and, you know, he apologized, and, you know, da-da-da-da-da. But it was just in that moment, and then connect back to tonight, it just showed that my family doesn't know how to show grace to each other, to themselves, you know. And that's why growing up, because I grew up in that kind of environment where the tone of what they said, or the verbiage of what they said, made me feel like, you know, what I said or what I did was so wrong, you know, that they sacrificed me, you know, to the cross for. Then it made me take on like this persona of a, you know, I have to be a perfectionist, because, okay, I've been, you know, being punished for so long, so let me stop doing whatever it is that they think is wrong and just start trying to be as perfect as I can be. But that's not what I'm getting to. So fast forward to tonight, the Lord really spoke on my heart, and he just made me realize that when me and Kamaje first started talking, like in the very early stages, even when we were still in the friendship stage, like just platonic friends, I used to do the same thing to him. I used to, like, whenever we would have a miscommunication, like I remember, and once he comes on the channel, he can, you know, talk about this further. But I remember, where we had a miscommunication of, I thought he was supposed to call me at a certain time, and he assumed that, you know, we were just kind of chilling out, and that he was going to call me later that particular day. And so I got really petty with him, and I iced him out. And I remember I called his mom, and I was like, where's Kamaje? Like, because I had not heard from him at all that day. I remember this was on a Sunday. And she was like, oh, he's up here watching the game. She was like, do you want to speak to him? And I was like, no. And like, that even like made me like even more upset, because in my mind it was like, okay, this Negro was supposed to been call me, but instead he's sitting up here watching this game. And so when he finally did call me, I didn't answer for like the first like three or four rings. I didn't answer. But of course, with him being persistent, he kept calling. And, you know, he was just like, I'm sorry. You know, I assumed that we were just kind of, you know, chilling, you know, like taking the Sunday to just rest. That's why I didn't call you. But I was like, you know, you didn't talk about that with me. And so even though he had apologized and we had talked about it, my feelings were still hurt. And so I remember I was sitting on the floor in my room, and I was going through my grandmother's hats that we had took from her house. And so when he was like, what are you doing? And when I told him, and he was like, can I see? And I was like, nope. So it was that me emotionally still punishing him for, you know, that minute miscommunication, but it was because that's how I grew up, you know. It was almost of the mindset of, I'm gonna make you feel what you did, you know, wrong until I feel better about myself, you know. And so we had to work through that, not just within our relationship, but I had to myself, because I realized that that's what I was doing to him. Oh shoot, my nose is running, y'all. Hold on. I realized that that's what I was doing to him, and that it wasn't. I'm sorry. And that it wasn't fair to him. And so I really had to do some soul searching and really get on my knees and, you know, really pray to the Lord, like, Lord, give me a spirit of grace, you know. Because I'm going to be honest, before Kamaje, I didn't really have like a graceful spirit, not as much as I thought I did. And that was something that the Lord revealed to me tonight as well. You know, was just like that's why so many past friendships and past relationships that I had been in, that's why they crumbled the way that they did, because I wasn't graceful, or I wasn't as graceful as I should have been. Now, some of those situations, it was just their fault alone. It wasn't, you know, but the majority of it was something that, had I probably shown a little bit more grace and had my tone been a little bit more different, then, you know, maybe we would have had a different outcome, you know, because I still understand, you know, people are here for a reason, you know, it's time for a season or whatever. But, you know, it really, the Lord just really just like, that all hit me like a ton of bricks tonight. And it was like, oh my God, you know, and I immediately start thinking back on certain situations where, you know, I never thought that I could be like cold-hearted, quote unquote, or whatever the term that y'all use today or whatever. You know, because I was always the sweet one. I was always the nice one between me and my brother. You know, Justin has always been like quote unquote cold-hearted, but that's just because he's such a laid back and a nonchalant type of person. Like, he already don't really care about much to begin with. And so I was like, well, I could never be like that because I care too much. I'm the emotional one in the family. But the more that I thought about, like those past friendships and those past relationships, some of the things that I did and some of the things that I said in my own little way, it was cold-hearted. But it was because I was only acting out what I saw in my own home. Now, that's no excuse, for me acting like that. But, if I could have seen something different in my own home, then those relationships and those friendships could have had a different outcome. And so, I was telling Kamanje tonight, and I was just like, I can guarantee you that had God never placed me in your life, 9 times out of 10, I would probably still have that same, like, spirit of just like, I'm right and, nobody else is right. That Miss Know-It-All spirit, and just that, just lack of grace. And, he can attest that since we've been together, that, like, I'm so extremely thankful that the Lord really gave me that spirit, and not only gave it to me, but he reconstructed it in me to where it really works for me. And I'm able to apply it not just in my relationship, but in friendships, in life, in ways that I know that had Kamaje never came along, I probably wouldn't care about it as much as I do now. But I also want to just share this, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I told Kamaje, I said, I don't think I've ever told you this, but the Lord also dropped this on my heart tonight, as to kind of like, piece together the final, piece for me with all of this. And sorry, y'all, I'm so stuffed up I cannot breathe. But anyways, the Lord was just like, now you know why you always have the kind of dreams that you have. So what he's talking about is, because I haven't had them since I've been talking to Kamaje, but I know, you must say probably a year and 6 months ago, before we started talking, I did. And they were very frequent. But the dream would be that I would be in the hospital. In the dream, I was in the hospital because it was either I had got into a really bad accident, or I had been shot, or just it was dramatic, and in the dream I could see myself laying in the hospital bed, and my face was all bloodied and whatever. And in the dream, I was still unconscious or still under sedation or whatever. And about 5 minutes into the dream, I woke up, and the first people that I saw in my room were my parents. My brother wasn't there, but it was my parents on the left side of me, on the hospital bed, and then the doctors and the nurses was on the right side. And so in the dream, when I woke up and I saw my parents, standing there, in my mind, I'm like, oh, surely, thank God, they're here, they're going to take care of me, da, 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 da. And in normal situations, that's what you will want to believe and will want to expect, from the people that care about you. Is in those moments, that's what normal people would say. And in the dream, my mom spoke first, and she would say, the first thing that came out of her mouth in the dream was, well, that's why you should have never got in the car, or that's why you should have never walked across the street. Like, it was immediate. Like, it wasn't like, oh my, like, she didn't, in the dream, she didn't even say, oh my God, like, my baby, I'm so glad my baby is okay, or whatever. She didn't even say that first. In the dream, she immediately said, like, started pointing blame at me. And here I am in the dream, in the hospital, all banged up, probably fighting for my life. And you gonna sit here and blame me, say, oh, it was my fault, or, oh, I probably shouldn't have, stepped on the gas so hard. And in the dream, my dad was standing right behind her and didn't say a word. But that's because in the dream, as soon as she finished talking, I first politely said, get out. And then when they acted like they didn't want to leave, I screamed it. And the doctors and nurses in the dream were like, are you sure, that you want your parents to leave? And I said, I'm absolutely sure. And I want you to add them to that list of people that I don't want to see. Because you know how in a hospital, patients can put certain people on their list that they don't want to visit them. I can't remember what that list is called, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyways, so, and in the dream, the doctors escorted them out my room. And every time I would have that dream, it was the same over and over. I would wake up, I would look at them, my mom would speak first, that's what she would say, and then I would kick them out. It, like, nothing ever changed whenever I would have the dream. And, the Lord he brought that back to my mind because I had completely forgot about the dream because I hadn't had it in so long. But the Lord brought that back to my mind tonight, and he was just like, see, he said, this is why I have built you up so much with the spirit of grace, because, as you can see, like, you can be on your deathbed and your parents are like, and don't get me wrong, y'all, I don't want to make it sound like, my parents are monsters and they don't know, like they don't have a sympathetic bone in their body. That's not what I'm saying, so please don't misinterpret it as that. Please don't take it like that, but because see, that was always something that I always expected from my mom because of how she grew up. She was raised by a single parent, and she saw some things in her life that were not things that a child at that age should see or have to experience. And so I always expected that from my mom. But here lately, it just seems like my dad is just, has hopped on that bandwagon too, especially tonight. And, with what he said with the whole spare key thing, in my mind, and I think I even said this aloud, but, I was just like, I don't have the energy to argue about this tonight. Like, argue with me about this another night, but, like, all of those pieces kind of came together tonight after that moment. And I could not wait till I finished up my breathing treatment so I could call my boyfriend and tell him. And then when I finished telling him, I was like, and I'm gonna get on YouTube and make a video about it, and just really like let the people know like what the Lord put on my heart with that. And I mean, I haven't had that dream since I started talking to Jade, but I wanted to talk about that dream because I just wanted you all to see that because I grew up in that kind of environment, I always expected, and I always realized, and I guess really convinced myself that if something such as what happened in the dream were to ever happen to me, that was going to be the kind of response that they had. I never expected a better response because dreams mirror your reality. And if my reality was me being in this environment where I grew up and I wasn't shown enough grace, and I was verbally and emotionally punished, put to the cross, so to speak, because of certain things that I did or said, then I was like, why would I think that it would be any different if something drastic as that was to happen to me? And, whenever I would have the dream, I didn't wake up in any like cold sweat. I didn't wake up and feel like it was a nightmare. I had it so much and so frequently that to me, it was just another dream. And I mean, no, it didn't take like a specific thing for me to have the dream. It would just come in just random moments. But it will always be the same every single time. And my mom would always speak first. And so I just wanted to hop on here really quick. I didn't mean to take too much of y'all time. But I really just had to share with you all, that realization that the Lord just gave me tonight. And I just want to say that I am a living, testimony. And, I have always vowed to myself and said to myself that because you did not come from a family of grace doesn't mean that you cannot have your own family of grace, and instill that in your family. And so it's so many. I mean, me and Kamaje talk about it all the time. It's so many, y'all, I'm sorry, my nose is running. It's so many generational curses that, he's experienced in his family. I've experienced in my family. We've experienced in both of our families at the same time, where we are, constantly talking about that we're going to break. That is not happening in the Granderson, in the future, Granderson household. And, even if it wasn't Kamaje, I have always, made like a mental note and a mental list of the generational curses that I saw in my family. And I would put it in, I would make a list in the back of my mind, and I'm going to say, okay, that's what, we're not going to do that when I have kids. We're not going to do that when so I would make sure that I made that note, so that way, whenever the Lord blessed me with, whoever my husband was going to be, I always knew that he was going to feel the same with that. And that he would want to break those generational curses as well. And so I'm so thankful that he has blessed me with somebody that has been patient with me throughout that, and has communicated with me when I have not been as graceful, and how that's made him feel. And because still, even today, I'm still not perfect, with that. I still have my days and my moments where, I will emotionally and verbally crucify him, so it's still a work in progress for me. But I am so, and I'm not even trying to exaggerate. Like it is a whole 360 from the Jade that he met a year and 6 months ago, almost 7 months ago now. It is a whole 360. And, I didn't do it alone. It was nothing but God, because it was a lot of moments where, because of things that I was saying or doing, it was just like, okay, if you don't get it together, like, you could lose the one thing that's ever, the best thing that's ever happened to you, and you lose him, you ain't getting another one, So I had to come to those hard truths and really be like, okay, I gotta get my life together, like this is, Lord, I know, he's the one for me. Just please, continue to allow him to be here, while I work through this, help me to work through it, quickly. So, I won't, and, that's why I'm so thankful that he's been so patient throughout this whole process. And, he's allowed me to kind of have my fits, and allow me to kind of crucify him, but, once I have my fit or I have my moment, I apologize, and then we get right back on track. So, I just wanted to just come on here once again and talk to you all. And I'm going to go put my head over this pan. I hope it's done boiling. And get some tea. And, oh, I'm so sorry. And get some tea and get some rest. And I'm going to talk to y'all later. But yeah, I just wanted to, come on here and talk about grace. I know I don't look as pretty, and I started to wait till, I kind of got done up and I don't look like I'm on my deathbed. But the Lord was like, no, you need to speak to them tonight. They need to hear this. And so I hope that what I've said tonight has encouraged somebody, has inspired somebody, has moved your heart about a situation that maybe you're going through. And don't be afraid to, drop any comments, below, to just, ask me, what was that process like? Or, if you want to just kind of get more in depth, about it, feel free, I'm an open book. And, I would love to answer any questions or anything. But tonight your girl gotta get some rest. So I love y'all. And thank y'all so much for continuing to rock with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all, I'm so stopped up. And I will talk to y'all later. And y'all have a great night. Okay. And just remember, just show more grace to people. Show more grace to yourself. Don't allow the enemy and situations to, make you feel like that, things are your fault, and make you feel like that you have to move heaven and earth in order to correct it. Just, realize that some people just are not on that same path and same wavelength as you. And tonight, that's exactly what I had to realize with my parents, is that, it's not that they don't want to show grace. I just believe that, I'm not going to say that they don't know how. They know how. But I feel like in moments that they should show grace, they don't. But that's a process that they have to work through together. But that's one that they have to willingly go on, and I can't force them to show more grace or to be more graceful. Not just to me, but to Justin. That has to be something that they have to want for themselves. But all I can control is how I respond to it, and how I go from there. And so that's all I can do. And of course it hurts more when it's people like your parents that's, they're the closest thing to you. Of course it hurts more, and it hurts worse, but, your parents are people just like you, and they make mistakes. They don't get everything right. And, as much as you would want to crucify them for not showing you enough grace, you have to show them grace on behalf of them not showing grace, And like the quote says, there will be a lot of times in life where you are worthy of an apology for something and you will never get it. And I know that sounds cold, and I know that sounds like, rough and bad, but people, may owe you an apology and may owe you, whatever, but if they're not in that headspace that you are in to give it to you, you have to forgive them and yourself and accept an apology that you would never get. And just keep it moving. So, okay, all right, I'm done talking, y'all. I'm done talking for real. Okay, I love y'all. Have a great night. I know I look rough, but I know I don't have, well, y'all already figured I don't have COVID. But yeah, so keep me in your prayers as I try and get over this sinuses. It's not a cold, it's just sinus. because I mean, this is homecoming week at Dillard, so I know what a better time for me to get sick. It never fails. But I'm gonna get through this, come out on the other side. I have my medicine and everything, so I'm good. I just gotta fight through. So I love y'all, and I know I got a booger in my nose. And I'll talk to y'all later. Okay, like, comment, and subscribe, please, for your girl, please. Okay. All right. Okay. Bye, y'all.